Hi Scripps families, it's Miss Heather. I'm here to help you prepare some cutting material. We sent home some materials in the packet, but if your children love cutting at home as much as they love cutting at school, you're gonna run out of those really fast. So, I'm gonna show you how to prepare some materials at home. You do not need a printer for this, but anything I show you, if you do have a printer at home, if you do it on white paper, you can easily duplicate it in a printer or copier machine. To get ready to make the work, you will need to pre-cut a 1-inch or maybe 3/4 inch strip of paper, and that is to help cut snippets with no lines. And then to make snippets with lines, we would want to have one that's even thinner, a 1/2 inch. So to cut those strips, you can either use your regular old scissors, just measure them, or if you're like me and you're a crafter at home, you can get out your handy dandy crafter cutter. I'm going to show you how to prepare a sheet like this where we have 1-inch strips that the children can cut. For this, you'll need a Sharpie and your just slightly less than 1-inch strip of paper. Line it up at the top. I'm going to turn it a little to make it easier for me to trace. And I'm just going to trace lines. Dr. Montessori believed that the paper needed to be child size in order to ensure that the child could be successful in cutting it. And that's why when we offer them snippets, we offer them very small strips of paper. This is what we would offer a 3-year-old child. However, if you have a toddler at home, you're going to want to cut these even smaller into 1/2-inch strips. Again, line it up at the top of the paper. And then cut out the individual strips, either 1-inch size for 3-year-olds or smaller for toddlers. When your 3-year-old gets really good at cutting paper with no lines, we can add more difficulty, more complexity by creating snippets that have lines. This time I'll use my short piece, and after creating these lines going in one direction, I'm going to create a new set of lines going in the opposite direction. Now, when I go to cut these out lengthwise, I've created a thin strip of paper for the young child to practice cutting. Remember, we want them to experience cutting, not tearing. And use the lines as a guide. You can do these kinds of parallel lines that run orthogonal, or you can even create a set of lines that runs diagonal. Use your thin strip again. This time line it up in the corner. Now, when we cut out the thin strip, the child can now practice cutting on the diagonal line. When they really seem to be using the scissors and following the lines, we can increase the level of challenge by offering them a curve. The curve needs to be inside the strip. Scissors and cutting requires that we are manipulating both hands at the same time. That's why we want this strip to be really small. And we're going to help the child learn to move the paper slowly and carefully to follow the line.